Turn it over. Okay. Hey everyone, it's Adrienne here, also known as Andy, and if you haven't met him, this is my cat Neville. We are live streaming nearby CFB Edmonton, bringing you a flexibility fusion class. This one essentially is going to be a yoga class. I absolutely love teaching yoga, so I've really been looking forward to this one all week. But before we get fully started here, a couple housekeeping items to go over and things just to chat about. So in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering virtual fitness classes that are for Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the virtual fitness classes tailored to the Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members recognize and acknowledge that their age, health status, and physical fitness levels are unknown, and it is entirely up to each individual to assess their ability to participate in this class. Since it is preferable to consult your physician prior to beginning any exercise program, we invite all participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members to consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document. Those will be posted in the comments below. If you are experiencing any pain or difficulty during the exercises presented in this video, it is recommended that you stop and consult a healthcare provider. Please do so. If Canadian Armed Forces members sustain an injury during this video, please remember to fill out a CF98. Like I said, if you missed it, brief intros. My name's Adrienne, I also go by Andy, and I'm one of the fitness instructors out of CFB Edmonton. With me today on the tech side of things, I'm losing my words, not quite sure what I'm going for there, but with me today just helping out is Kristen. She's another one of our fantastic fitness instructors from Edmonton, and she'll be hanging out in the comments. If you have any questions, you have any comments, definitely toss those below. And like I said, with those questionnaires, reference documents, she'll be putting those in the comments as well, so that you can check it out and take a look. So what we've got for you, like I said, yoga class. If you have a yoga mat, fantastic, grab your mat, roll it out, make sure you have a little bit of space. You won't really need much space beyond actually what your yoga mat takes up on the floor, so that should be good. Other than that, we had mentioned it earlier on in the week if you were reading our posts, but if you have something like a yoga block, something like this, dude, that would be really helpful today as well. You don't need it. It's just an option. It can help to extend your limbs, extend your reach a little bit in some of the postures we'll be moving through. If you don't have something like that, maybe something like a cushion or a blanket, you can roll it up into something that's just a little bit of support for you to lean on every now and again. Other than that, if you want to put music on, you are certainly welcome to. I won't have any music going on here, and if you've done classes with me, generally I don't have a lot of music anyways, or I keep it fairly quiet. My biggest recommendation today is if you are somewhere near a window and you can open your window and maybe hear some birds because spring is finally happening, that would probably be your best option for something like this today. So get yourself set, do what you need to do, have water nearby if needed, and at any point during this practice, modify exercises if you need to, modify postures if you need to, and take breaks. I'm going to be going pretty steady throughout our hour here, so stick with me when you can. If you can't, no stress. Jump back in whenever you are ready, whenever that works. All right, I think we're excited and ready to go here. I'm just going to grab my water as well, have it nearby. Alright, and yeah, like I said, if you have questions, definitely toss them in the comments. I'm very lucky to be working with Kristen today. She has a wealth of knowledge in the mobility background and the mobility area, so take advantage of that expertise. If you have questions, I'm sure she'll be able to help you out with those, and has a yoga background as well, so fabulous for going through this one with me. Alright, again, find your way down to your mat. And just to start off, take a comfortable seated position. We're going to do a couple of things to tune in with the breathing first, connect with that a little bit. set up our posture for a really successful practice, and then we will go from there. So find your seat. If cross-legged is not comfortable for you, whether you have a block or a cushion that maybe you can sit on, that might feel a little bit better, or pretty much any other comfortable seated position that allows your sit bones to be stacked on something solid and spine to be able to reach up nice and tall. Again, allow the hands to rest at the sides, maybe on the knees or in the lap, however feels most comfortable there. And just think about, like I said, finding that tall spine, kind of growing up out of the waist. The crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling here. Maybe we'll shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and send them back down and away, just setting that up a little more, finding a nice kind of tall, proud chest. And my recommendation would be to either soften your gaze or allow the eyes to close for the next few moments. While we're here, just taking a moment to check in with the body, how we're feeling today. If you've been doing our workouts all week, maybe this will be a really good active recovery session for you. Taking note of any sore spots, any tight spots, areas that we might need to be taking care of today. And then we will shift our attention to the breath. Feeling that as it moves in and out through the lungs, filling them up. And slowly emptying. If it's comfortable for you today, I would recommend moving through this practice, mostly breathing in and out through the nose, but supplement with the mouth whenever you need. And let's make these a little bit deeper. If you'd like to tune in and you're more of, or tune in a bit of a different way, you're more of a hands-on or kinesthetic learner, you can bring a hand to the belly and a hand to the chest. And as you breathe in, think about filling your belly. Feel that belly expand, chest lifts a little bit, opens up. Exhaling, we let that chest fall and belly falls. Inhaling, we fill through the belly, fill through the chest. Exhaling, let the chest fall and belly falls. Couple more like that. Fill up, bottom to top. And slow, empty, let that pour back out. Wonderful. Finding this pace, this rhythm of the breath. If arms are up, we can release them back down to the knees or down to the sides. And we'll gently bring the eyes back open. Alright, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit tuned in. If not right away, that's alright. Maybe as we make our way through practice today or through class, who knows? See how she goes, see how it feels. And let's start to move with that breath. We're going to kind of use it as a guide for all of our movements today, how fast, how slow, how dynamic we are going through this practice. So sitting up nice and tall again, let's bring the right hand out to the right side of our mat. We're going to send an inhale to reach left arm up. And as you exhale, start to find a bit of a side bend here, opening up through the left side of the body. I like to shift the gaze up and past my left arm, just a gentle turn. And maybe we find a bent arm with the right one here. Maybe we come down to a forearm. But if you're finding that really crunches through the right side, just come back up to the bent arm instead. With an inhale, we'll shift back up through center. Exhale, release that left arm down. Other side, inhale, right. Exhale, we find that gentle side bend, a little bit of extension through the right side of the body. Maybe we shift that gaze up and past the right arm. And if shoulders start to sneak up towards the ears here, let's melt them back down and away, keeping that neck long. Wonderful. We'll inhale, come on back through center. Exhale, release that down, and we'll find our way into a tabletop here. Hands and knees. We'll bring our shoulders to stack over the wrists, hips to stack over the knees. Taking a moment to spread the fingers out wide, just setting a nice strong base of support here, and we will warm up a little bit through the spine. As we inhale, let's drop the belly, head, chest, and hips lift. Exhaling, we press through hands and knees, rounding the spine. Inhale, we let that belly drop, head, chest, and hips gently lift. Exhaling, press through and round. Maybe that chin tucks in towards chest a bit. Inhaling, we open up. Exhale, round. And let's do 2 more of these, just moving at your own pace, following your breath, and keeping these movements just nice and slow. Finding those 2 kind of end ranges, expansion through the front body and through the back body. We'll come back to meet in a neutral spine whenever you are done here. Finding that nice, just balanced positioning here between right and left, between front and back, hands and knees. Feel the crown of the head drawing forward, tailbone reaching back. And fire up the core just a little bit. We're going to get a bit of sensation there for now, and we'll come back to this in just a moment. But think about drawing belly button in towards the spine so that everything here stays nice and strong, supported through our trunk. Next, exhale, let's send hips back towards the heels. They may or may not touch, that's fine. And arms extend overhead for child's pose. We're going to let that upper body get heavy. Forehead melts down towards the mat. And if it doesn't quite reach the mat, no worries. You can use your block, or one of my favorites is just to stack palms, maybe stack fists, and giving the forehead something to rest on. When the forehead finds something solid, we kind of switch more to our parasympathetic nervous system, allowing us to come into more of a rest and digest type of spot. So if things are moving a little fast today, getting a little bit intense, or you need to just slow down, reconnect with the breath, it's always nice to bring it back to something like child's pose, somewhere that you can rest, support your head. And if it feels good, you might have seen me doing it here. I do a little rock side to side of my forehead just to massage it out. It feels so nice. All right, for now, we'll keep things going. So let's just make this a bit more active. Reach those arms back out towards the top of the mat. Spread your fingers wide, press down through the palms, and use that pressure to start to send the hips back a little more. Each exhale, you're pressing through, hips get a little heavier. Inhale, just thinking about being long through the spine, crown of the head still reaching forward. These might feel like you're not really moving at all, or movements are really, really tiny. And that is a big part of the practice, is just micro movements, tiny adjustments with the breath. Fabulous. All right, inhale, come on back up to your tabletop. Find that nice neutral spine, that core engagement. And waking up our core a little bit more here, getting more active. Let's send the right leg back, left arm forward for our bird dog. Some people know this one as a spinal balance. Again, core still draws tight in towards the spine. Thinking about reaching the fingertips forward and the heel back rather than up, just to eliminate any unnecessary sway to the low back. Just feeling how stable or maybe not so stable we might be today. And go ahead and bring that back to the mat. Same thing on your second side. Right arm, left leg, reaching forward and back. Finding that length, that reach through the fingertips, reach through the heel. Noticing where we're starting to wake things up a little bit. And really strong with that breath. One more. As we exhale, bring that back down, hands and knees, and find your way onto forearms. One more little opener here before we get moving a little bit more quickly. This is kind of like the rest of the yoga warm-up. With forearms on the mat, let's bring right hand up towards the right ear. Just let it rest really gently on the side of the head. And again, moving with your breath here, opening through our mid-spine a bit. We're going to find an inhale to bring the right elbow up towards the ceiling. Exhale brings us back through center, back to kind of a neutral position here. Inhaling, we open up. Exhale, bring that down. And just one more here at your own pace. Go ahead and switch sides when you're ready. Same thing 3 times over here. Left hand up towards the left ear. And using that breath. Inhaling to expand. Exhaling to gently lower. 3 of these. No rush. And once you are done those 3, find your way into a downward dog here. We're going to send the hips up and back. Finding a bit of an inverted V posture. You can bring the hands about shoulder width, feet about hip width. Legs can be as bent as they need. And maybe to start, just because it feels good to settle in a bit more here, we can weight shift side to side, maybe pedal the feet out a little bit, before allowing ourselves to really settle in by letting the chest sink down a bit, letting the head go, pardon me, and sending those hips up and back. Just noticing where you feel a little bit of opening here. It might be in the shoulders. Maybe you're feeling this more through the hips and down the back of the legs. It can be all kinds of spots here. We'll be moving through this posture quite a bit for the first part of practice. So at any point, again, if you need that rest, come on back to your child's pose. For now, we're going to go through some modified flows. So take an inhale, shift forward, find a high plank. Shoulders stack over wrists. Hold here for a couple of seconds. I love core, so let's fire that up. Feel the arms so strong here, pressing into the mat, creating a little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Dropping to the knees if you need. And then with your next exhale, regardless, bring those knees down, lower with control. Chin and chest come to touch. Cool. From here, with an inhale, we start to draw the head and chest forward and up, just finding a half lift. Hold here for a couple of breaths, bit of strengthening through the spine. Hands are going to be nice and light. We want to think about bringing the gaze just in front of your mat rather than really arching that head back. Beautiful. Engage with that core. Press through your tabletop exhale. And come on back to a downward dog. Beautiful. Hopefully that felt all right so far. We're going to move through a couple more just a little bit faster. Either an inhale or exhale per movement. So finding an inhale, we shift forward, high plank. Exhale, we lower with control. Inhale, draws the chest forward and up. Exhale, come on back, downward dog. One more like that. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale, draws us forward and up. And exhale, take it back. If I'm going a little bit too fast or a little bit too slow for you, no stress. Please feel free to move at your own pace. Take an extra breath where you need it. We'll always find a spot to catch up or meet back up. Over the next couple of breaths, walking towards the top of our mat, we'll meet in a forward fold. And keep the feet about hip distance. Really let the body ragdoll forward here. Shoulders, arms can let go, head hangs heavy. And if it feels good, maybe we grab for opposite elbows, finding a gentle sway side to side. If you are grabbing opposite elbows, go ahead and release. Let's take the next breath or so to roll up to stand, vertebrae by vertebrae, head comes up last. With an inhale at the top, we'll sweep those arms wide, send them overhead. Exhaling just down through center, palms to press. So we're going to use this pressure to keep the chest open, keep the shoulder blades back and down, that really strong, tall posture. Find a little bit of a rock forward and back in the feet, maybe a side to side, and just find a middle spot that you really feel good in your balance. A little bit of softness to the knees, hips stacking over top, shoulders stacking over top, and crown of the head grows tall. Should bring you nice and strong, nice and tall into the standing posture. And we'll move through a few sun salutations together, but we'll pop back to this posture in between. Finding an inhale, let's sweep those arms wide, open the chest. Exhale, fold forward, come on down. Inhale as we bring the hands to the shins, half lift. Exhale, hands plant, right foot steps back. You can come to the knee or to the toes, your choice. Inhale, lifting through the body, coming up to your lunge. So hands, they can feel free to come to hips, maybe they go through center. If shoulders are okay with it, they may come overhead. And just taking a couple of breaths, feeling those legs strong. Right hip pulls back a bit, right hip pulls forward a little bit, left hip pulls back. And with an exhale, we'll frame that foot, step back, downward dog. Through that flow we've been practicing, inhale, shift forward. Exhaling, we lower, knees, chin, and chest. Inhale, draws us forward and up. Exhale, take that back, downward dog. Send the right leg high, same leg again, kick it up. And then step between the hands. Drop that back knee or stay on your toes as we press up for that second side lunge. Settle in wherever you need to be. Taking whatever arm variation feels all right. And maybe coming back to those deep belly breaths if you've lost them. Got a couple to hang out here, a couple to settle in. As you exhale, framing that foot, step forward, forward folds. And rolling up to stand once more. At the top, we find that big opening breath, sweep it wide. Exhale through center. And let's move into our second side. Inhale, open up. Exhale, we fold, come on down. Inhale, half lift, hands find the legs. Exhale, hands plant, left foot. This time, step it back to your toes or to your knee. Find a lunge. Inhale, we lift. We're going to think a little bit about some opposing factors here. Our feet are really strong pressing into the ground. If your back knee is lifted, heel is also lifted here, staying on those toes. We have strong pressure through your front and back foot. Through the upper body, focusing a little bit more on lightness, a little bit more on length. So inhale is really lifting. Exhale is finding that solid base. All right, let's go ahead. Exhale, frame the foot, step back, down dog. And move through your flow. Inhale, shift forward plank. Exhaling, we lower. Inhale, draws us forward and up. And exhale back. Again, left foot. Inhale to bring it high. Stepping between the hands. Drop that back knee if you wish, and go ahead, press on up. Finding those same opposing factors. Inhale to bring light to the upper body. Exhale, bringing strength, stability, that solid base to the lower body. If that back knee is lifted, heel's lifted as well. 2 more good breaths here. As we exhale, frame that foot, step forward, forward folds. And inhaling, we roll back up to stand. That next breath in is an opening one, an expanding one. Sweep the arms wide. Exhale through center. And allow those arms to open up on either side of the body here. Palms face forward, grow tall, just like we did at the start of some of our standing postures. Find a big inhale, fill up the lungs, bottom to top. And a big sigh, let that go. One more, those feel good. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, out the mouth. Fantastic work. Let's inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhaling, hands plant. Step back to your downward dog. Finding just a couple of breaths here, and then we'll move through a couple more of my most favorite postures. Well, let's bring the right foot high with an inhale, stepping between the hands. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes, press through the front foot. This might feel familiar if you've been doing the other lunges from the knee. We're going to change it up slightly. I'll get you to bring hands through center and shift back so that your hips are stacking a bit more over your back knee. From here, engaging with the core, tuck the tailbone under, it points towards the earth. And then moving with the breath, we'll exhale, sink forward just a little bit. Moving with that breath. As we inhale, shift back, maybe arms open to make the chest broad. Exhale, we sink forward and down, hands through center. Inhale sends us back, open up. Exhaling, we sink down. Two more like that. Inhale, we open. Maintaining that tailbone drop, that tailbone tuck as we sink down. It might be a big movement, maybe small. Last one. Hanging out in this bottom position for a couple of breaths. Feel free to stay here, or if it feels okay for you and you want to open that chest a little more, hands can find the backs of the hips like you're putting your hands in your back pockets. Start to draw the elbows together, opening up through the chest, and maybe we lift the gaze slightly. If you're holding your breath right now, see if we can bring that smooth breath back. If not, maybe we ease off just a little bit and come back to that tall spine. Beautiful. All right, from here, let's shift back slightly. Heel toe your foot to the outside edge of the mat, and we'll bring both hands to find the mat just inside of your right foot. Please double check that your right knee is over top of the ankle as we settle in here. And we're allowing those hips just to hang out heavy towards the mat. You can stay on straight arms, thinking about drawing the chest forward. Or maybe we find bent arms or forearms even. If you need somewhere in between, grab that cushion or that block. So you have somewhere else to hang out. Find whatever is a good challenge for you, gives you a little bit of sensation in and around that right hip without being so intense that we can't maintain the breath. If that knee is starting to sneak away from you, bring it back in a little bit more active. Squeeze the knee in towards your right shoulder. And if you are on forearms, go ahead and find hands once more, straight arms. We'll tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and find your way back to a down dog. All right, things are starting to wake up a little bit here. Let's find that second side. Left leg inhales high, stepping between hands. And we'll drop the back knee and tuck the toes, press it on up into your low lunge. Starting set up the same way, we're going to shift back slightly, tuck that tailbone under so it points towards the earth. Hands make their way through center. As we exhale, starting to find that little movement, small sink forward and down. And then add the arms as we inhale, open up, shift back. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, we open up, bring it back. Exhale, sink. Got two more like that. And if the arms aren't suiting you today, no stress. Just go with a little bit of movement, that little bit of titration into and out of a stretch in through that back hip flexor. As we finish those, we'll meet back in that kind of sunk down position. Option to stay here for a couple of breaths, or open a bit more through the front body, keeping our core strong as we bring hands to back pockets, invisible back pockets. Draw the elbows together, bring that chest up and proud, maybe shifting the gaze up and back. This is an ever so gentle back bend. By no means should it be your max or a spot that you can no longer breathe. Best way to check in is always coming back to that breath. If we can keep it smooth, we're doing all right. If you are lifted, come on back to that neutral spine. You can shift back slightly here, releasing hands from wherever they may be, and we're heel toeing the left foot out to the left side of our mat. Hands come to plant on the inside, setting up for lizard on our second side. Again, allowing that left knee to stack directly over top of the ankle, helping to protect our joints. Hands are firm into your mat, drawing the chest forward. Maybe finding that bend to the elbows, coming down to forearms, wherever you need to be today. Again, thinking about that little bit of activity here, squeezing the left knee in towards the left shoulder. And being really patient with the body, especially considering with a lot of these hip openers can be on the intense side, and often we find one side is completely different from the other. That's perfectly fine, perfectly normal. It's very rare that we are exactly even from side to side, so no stress there. Let's find one or two more good breaths. And then if you're low, find your way back up to your hands. Go ahead and step it back to your downward dog. Noticing if there's any little bit of a difference here, if anything is feeling different, whether it is more open, maybe more fatigued, that's okay. With that right leg, inhale, send it high. We're going to find a bend to the leg, opening your right hip over left. Reach that foot to the sidewall for three-legged dog. Try to bring the chest still square towards your mat. Strengthening a little bit through that active range of motion of the right hip in a whole lot of angles. And exhale, gently bring that back to the mat, other side, left leg. Inhales to lift. Find that bend to the knee and start to reach over for the side wall. If hands are slipping, spread your fingers wide, press down through thumbs and index fingers more. Another breath or so. And then we'll gently exhale, feet back to the mat. Let's drop to the knees, untuck the toes, take a child's pose, reconnect with the breath, slow things down. If your shoulders are a little tired, if they need more of a breather, send the arms back past the feet and just allow yourself to melt here. If you need another one of those really good sigh it out breaths, do what you need to do. And then we'll continue on here. Bring yourself back up to your downward dog. We won't be here for very long, so bear with me. And taking small steps, we're going to walk those feet back up towards, I'll say the middle of your mat for now, middle top, somewhere around there. Find that forward fold once more. We're going to open things up just a little bit here. Allow the knees to bend as much as you need so you can really let go. Maybe that belly comes to rest on the thighs. And then, if it's available, peace fingers, your index and middle, can grab big toes on either side. Thumbs kind of acting as a cap here. And we can use that to help us just a little bit more into opening here, thinking about lengthening through the spine with our inhales. Exhales, maybe send the hips a little higher. You can think about a gentle, gentle, gentle internal rotation at the top of the thighs that helps to widen the sit bones. Helps to bring a little bit more space through the back of the legs. We've got 2 more breaths here to make any other little micro adjustments that you might need. Releasing that grip, and we'll roll it up to stand. All right, so far so good. We're going to cue in a bit more core and then move into some balancing. So you can bring big toes to touch. Heels are going to come slightly apart. And inhale, arms to sweep overhead. Palms might just press here. That's a little bit more challenging, so I would recommend interlace the fingers. Release the index fingers. And as we inhale, we'll grow tall. Exhale, come up and over towards the right side of the room. Hips are going to bump left slightly. Finding that same openness through the left side as we did at the start of practice in that seated position. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Gaze can shift up and past the arms if that feels okay. And notice if you're starting to open up a little bit through those ribs. Draw in through the core. Keep the low ribs tucked in. Nice work. I'm sure you're ready to move out of here. So let's inhale, come through center. Exhale, give the hands a little rest. And maybe we change how we interlace the hands here. Opposite finger can come on top or opposite thumb on top. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, reaching up and over to the left side. So same thing here. We're finding that gentle crescent shape. Length through the crown of the head, through the fingertips. And firm pressure through both feet. Notice if you're shifting more from one side to the other. See if we can center that balance again. And containing those low ribs if they have started to flare out on us. Last one. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, release those arms down. We'll catch the hips and moving into tree. Classic balance. Nothing super crazy here, but we'll give her a go. I'm excited for these. I always love them. We're going to shift weight over to our left foot. Spread the toes out wide if that is available for you. Opening the right knee towards the side wall. You might stay here. This might be your tree for today. If you need a little bit more, maybe we start to slide that foot in towards the opposite leg. Heel gently taps. Or we can lift to inner calf or upper inner thigh. What I would recommend for today is coming to calf if this is new, or if hip mobility is a little bit restricted, come up to the thigh if we can do so without putting pressure directly on the knee joint. We just want to protect that. So keeping hands at hips is excellent, or feel free to come through center, out to sides, maybe overhead. Have a little bit of fun with this one. Be creative with it. You totally can. See how it affects your balance. And if you are like, oh man, I am the master of this balance right now, and you want more challenge, close your eyes for just a moment. Give it a go. If you fall out of these, no worries. You can always come back to it. But for now, let's inhale, come back through center. Exhale, we gently place back on the mat. All right, if your feet need a break, pedal it out. And we'll shift to that second side, moving over to the right foot. Spread the toes wide. Find that solid base. Opening the left knee towards the side wall. Lifting, if you need a little more, to calf, upper inner thigh. Again, avoiding that knee joint. Be kind to it. And then moving hands, arms, wherever you're feeling like they need to go today. Notice if you're still taking full breaths, or if somehow we've got caught up in trying to lift so much and get so tall that we get stuck in half breaths. Feel that standing foot really strong, rooted into the ground. And again, that balance challenge is there. If you want to close the eyes, go for it. Please be careful of things and people around you. And inhaling, we'll find our way back through center. Exhale, take that back to the mat. Nicely done. I'm thrilled. Next, we're going to bring ourselves down to the ground. One of my most favorite ways. Please feel free to modify if you need. But inhale, arms up in line with shoulders. heel toe the feet about hip distance apart, toes pointing forward, or at least pointing in the same direction that the knees are going to go. Not in, please, not in, but straight forward or maybe slightly out. Inhale, we get tall. As we exhale, finding your invisible chair, setting hips back and down. If you have a tendency to want to round through the upper back here and reach forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, turn the thumbs up. That helps to keep us a little bit more open. Even palms up will do. And think about shifting your weight into the heels. Core stays strong so that we're not getting that ducktail, pointing the tailbone towards the earth, and challenging the balance. Keep lowering with each exhale for the next few. 3, 2, nice work. And 1, use the arms if you need to. Come take a seat. Whew. All right, good stuff. Starting by sending the legs out long here, a little bit more activation for the hips, a bit of strengthening here. Great for some of that active range of motion. Legs are going to be out long in front of us. Hands plant on either side. They might be right beside the hips. If your hamstrings are already on fire from sitting up like this, maybe walk the hands back an inch or 2. Grow really tall through the crown of the head. Firm press down through the palms. And with an inhale, right leg is going to get laid on the mat. Maybe it lifts up. See how she goes. Find a couple breaths of activation here. If you got some shakes going on, that's great. I love that. Exhaling, we gently release. Bring that back to the mat. Other side, left leg. Inhale. Maybe it gets light. Maybe it lifts. Wherever you're at today, as long as you are challenging yourself a little bit here, finding some things working, I'm thrilled. Nice, 1 or 2 more. You've got it. And as we exhale, we find our way back to the mat. Let's inhale, send the arms up overhead. Exhale, reach them forward, and then let yourself melt here. Just a nice, gentle, easy release, relax. Don't hold on to the legs, to your mat. Just see where you end up if you let gravity do that work for you. It might just be a little lean forward. Maybe knees bend a bit, ankles relax, that's perfectly fine. This one is passive, so we're allowing the back to round a bit. If we were to hold and pull, then I would say come back to a neutral spine instead. So if you're pulling and your spine is rounded, let go of that for a moment. As much as I love working hard, it's so nice when gravity can just take over. Got 1 more good breath here. Cool, cool, cool. We'll bring ourselves back up tall. Foot soles can come to touch, knees opening up towards the sides. And changing a little bit of intensity with this one based on how close or how far your feet are away from yourself. If they're further away, it's going to be a bit less intense, back in towards you, more so adjust as you need. And then we'll grab 4 ankles. Find that tall spine, grow way up through the crown of the head. And then without using the arms, we're going to activate through the external rotators of the hips. Think about pressing your knees down towards the mat with each exhale. They might not move very much, but you'll probably feel it. You'll notice. That's fine. Seeing how much activation we can get here, how much openness we can get just through the strength of the hips on their own. Got a couple more. All right, let's release, relax the legs for a sec. Coming into a more passive version, kind of a combination of the last 2 and one of my favorite seated postures. We're going to bring foot soles to the mat, knees roughly a 90-degree bend, maybe a little bit greater of an angle, that's fine. And then let the knees fall open to the sides. If sitting up straight here is already lots, hang out, take her easy. If you need a little bit more, we'll inhale to grow tall, exhale to draw the chest forward, and then when you can go no further forward, coming back to that passive stretch, rounding the spine. We're going to let the head and chest melt towards the mat, and if it's available, Don't force it if it's not happening, but if it's available, we can tuck the forearms underneath the calves. Don't do it if you're going to get stuck. Usually tucking under like this will be pretty safe though, so it'll be alright. Let's see how deep we can make these breaths. And maybe extending the exhales even more. If your arms are tucked, remember this is passive. We're not pulling. We're just allowing ourselves to relax into this shape. Appropriately known as a turtle coming into his shell. Beauty. Alright, if our arms are tucked here, we're going to slide them out one at a time. Find your way back up to that nice tall spine and collect the legs back in. If it feels good, we can bring the knees side to side into a little bit of a windshield wiper. Open up those hips a bit. Fabulous. All right, let's go ahead and find our way to our stomachs. You can send the legs back out behind us. No particular fancy transitions for that one, but first thing here should be familiar. We've come into it a few times today. Untuck your toes, so tops of feet press into the mat. Hands are gently resting under shoulders, and we're just going to find that Cobra once more, that half lift. Head and chest come to rise. Hands are really light, maybe they even come to hover. Think about pressing down through the tops of the feet. I know they like to sneak up on us here. Engage with the glutes a little bit. Does that help? And bonus question, are you still breathing? Let's take one more. Exhaling, we can release, relax that down. Bringing those hands back alongside the body. Plant them face down, either side of the hips. We can allow the chin to come and rest on the mat, just hang out here. Keeping legs fairly straight, let's inhale, bring the right leg as high as it will go. Feeling the front of the body, hips, palms, pressing into the mat to assist with that lift, with the stability. And it might move a little, it might move a lot. Strengthening through that glute, maybe a little bit in the hamstring as well. And as you exhale, release that back to the mat. Take a breath to reset if you need it. And then we'll find our second side, left leg. Inhale, still lift. Keeping that leg straight back behind us. Plant firm through those palms. And we will gently release back to the mat. You can allow the big toes to touch, heels open to either side. And hands can find their way back up to the top of our mat. Quick shoulder range of motion drill. Hopefully you have room at the top of your mat to extend your arms overhead. If not, shift forward or back as needed. We're going to bring those arms overhead about shoulder width. Thumbs pointing up towards the sky. And forehead can come to rest on the mat, or maybe it hovers. I'll leave that up to you, whatever is most comfortable today. And finding an inhale. Arms and only arms lift up away from the floor. Maybe they just get light today. Notice if you're pressing down really hard through your forehead, be gentle to it. Don't push so hard. Little steps with this, even again, if you're just getting a bit of activation, that's fantastic. Exhale, bring that down. Next one, opening up to the sides. We'll find like a T shape, arms right in line with shoulders. And you can rest the head however, but I would prefer that chin is resting on the mat or forehead just coming straight forward, not adding a twist side to side. With an inhale, again, arms and only arms lift, but like we're trying to bring the backs of our palms to touch. They're probably not going to touch, spoiler alert. Think about sending the shoulders down away from the ears if they've snuck up. I know they like to do that. Strengthening a little bit through the back body, activating some of those smaller muscles. Exhale, let that go. Cool, cool, cool. Next up, we're going to bring our arms back once more, lifting mostly through the front of the body again. I want to challenge you to keep the legs firm into your mat, tops of the feet planted. We're going to bring a lift to the head and chest, and arms behind us like we're going to bring palms to touch. If this is really available for you and you have a lot of shoulder mobility, feel free to interlace fingers behind the back over the glutes, keeping palms pressed as we move through this lift. But if not, palms reaching to touch. Inhale, lift through head and chest. Exhale, send those arms back. Find that squeeze through the back. Things are active. Gaze just to the top of your mat, maybe slightly in front of it. Strong breath. And exhale, let that go. Got one more. Last one here. A little bit more full all over. This one is called Locust. If you are familiar, we're going to do the same thing, but add a lift to the legs as well. Just as much as feels comfortable. Maintaining that breath. And think about squeezing legs together. Keep them zipped up. With that inhale, head, chest start to lift. Exhaling, we find that squeeze. Legs can come up as well. Holding so strong here for 3. Good breaths. 2. And 1. Exhale, lower. You can bring hands back to the front. Slide palms forward so elbows come to stack under shoulders into Sphinx. We'll use this to find some openness in the mid-back, drawing shoulder blades back and down, opening up through the chest. Gaze is straight forward. And then feel free to stay here, or maybe we press through palms into more of a full Cobra. Hands can come back towards you if you want more intensity, or stay far away if this is lots. So please adjust however you need to here, maintaining that long neck. Notice if we sink in, where can we create that length, create that space again. Beautiful. And we'll exhale, take that down nice and slow. Hands can come back under shoulders. We're going to fire up through that core again, press up to kind of a kneeling plank. And send it back, child's pose. Again, arms can be forward or back, allowing yourself to really round, let go. After going through some of that extension work, it's nice to give the back a break, a little bit of a rest. I know we were keeping strong with the core, finding some really good activation and really good breaths there. But those rests are important too. All right, you can find your way back up to a seat. Send your legs out in front of you and bring foot soles to plant. We're going to get into just a little bit more core before we start to wind things down for our practice. We're going to bring that chest up nice and tall. Hands can plant on either side of the hips or float in line with shoulders. I'll leave that up to you. Keeping that long spine, reaching through the crown of the head, start to bring the balance back. Feet might start to get light. They can stay here. Maybe they start to hover, coming up to parallel or extending. Find one that is a good challenge for you today. Hold and keep drawing that chest up. Don't let the low back cave in, round. Got a few breaths. 3, 2, and 1. You can grab on to the hamstrings. Go ahead and find a gentle roll onto your back. I'll spin around so it's easier to see what I'm doing here. And we'll just draw knees in towards the chest. Find a squeeze, a rock side to side. Nice little back massage. We've been working hard. You deserve this. And then releasing that grip. Foot soles can find the mat. Bring feet about hip distance apart. Heels just close enough that you can like brush them with your fingertips. And check in. Make sure that your knees are again stacked over top of the ankles, not falling in together here, keeping them hip distance as well. Palms plant, Activating a little more. Let's get strong through the core. Engage the glutes, squeeze them. Inhale, lift hips. Exhale, think about pressing through your heels. We're going to spend a few breaths up here. So again, core is strong and fired up. Glutes are squeezing. If knees start to sneak out, think about squeezing them together like you're holding a ball between them. And checking in with that breath. Last couple here. As we exhale, roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep that engagement through the core. Hips come down last. Nice. And let that relax for just a moment. We're going to inhale, right leg up towards us. Then go kicking your heel to the sky. Don't grab on just yet. How far can we get this leg up and or towards our faces without using the arms? Just hanging out for a couple of breaths, finding that active range of motion here. And then maybe we grab for the hamstring somewhere that we can allow the shoulder blades to still rest heavy, back of the head to rest on the mat. Finding just a little bit more openness through the calf, through the hamstring. If you want more intensity, you can see with my toes I have them flexed back towards my face. That's going to fire things up a little more. Or you can allow the ankle to relax if like this is, holy smokes, lots. Again, please modify, adjust however you need. And let's release the grip. Bending to cross your right ankle over the opposite knee. Keep that flex to the foot, dorsiflexion, toes pulled back towards the knee. You can stay here if this already feels like lots, or maybe we inhale to lift the legs towards us, grabbing on for the hamstring. Same rules apply here, that I would like the upper back relaxed, grounded in your mat. If you find yourself really curling up here, bringing a lot of unnecessary tension to the neck, see if we can adjust the grip slightly, or find a couple of exhales to get heavy through the upper body. Release it back down. If you still need more here, wherever you might be, ideally we want to feel this one in and around the right hip, through the right glutes, but maybe we find some activation, pressing that knee away from us gently. Very nice. Whatever grips you might have, please let go gently. Uncross the legs, we'll bring them back to the mat. And coming into that hamstring opener, calf opener on your left side. Inhale, left foot to sky. No hands yet, just breaths. Keeping the back firm in your mat as we bring that leg back towards us. Active range of motion work. Notice if the tailbone starts to lift here, can we drop it back down? And then go ahead, add the hands to the hamstring, maybe to the calf. Keeping our back body heavy. And that flex to the toes, if you'd like. Otherwise, ankle can stay relaxed. Lots of little modifications we can do here. Fantastic and wonderful. Find one more good breath in that hamstring stretch. Soak it in. And then we'll release that grip. Flex the toes back towards the knee as we cross the left ankle over the right knee. Hang out as you are, or inhale, legs come towards you. Grab that hamstring and settle in. It's a really good one because we're hanging out here for a few breaths to come back to some of those deeper belly breaths. Really noticing where we're feeling the sensation. Hopefully you can find it pretty easily. Noticing where else we can relax. Maybe it's in the jaw, gently parting the teeth. And then we will, again, gently release here. Let go of grips if you have them. Uncross the legs. Bring arms out to a T. Again, bring the legs up like you're sitting in an invisible chair. Bump your bump your hips gently over to the left. And with control, knees can come over to the right side of the mat. You're going to let those shoulder blades rest heavy. Gaze can stay up, or maybe it goes away opposite direction from the knees. Gentle spinal twist. If there's a leg variation that you would like to bring in, please do so. Feel free to adjust. Just keep movements mindful and gentle, respecting the body's limits. Inhale, come back through center. Bump those hips up and over to the right side of your mat. And with control, knees fall left, evening out in that twist. And we're getting close on time here, so let's wrap things up. Draw knees back in towards the chest. Pull yourself back through center. Stretch it out long, arms overhead, legs out long, full body stretch. Yawn it out if you need. And then tuck knees into chest, forehead to knees. Give yourself a big squeeze. And come on back up, maybe coming back to your seat. Back up to stand. Take your time. There is no rush. Grab a sip of water if you need, and that is our yoga practice for today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you did something new, something different. And if you're looking for something a little bit higher intensity, there is I want to say it's a power hour class with Scott this afternoon. So be sure to check that out. If you have questions or concerns, we'll be monitoring the comments for the next 15 minutes. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me for a yoga practice. Namaste, wherever you are, and we'll see you again soon.